Do you know those lies we hear and end up believing without even realizing it? Well, today we're going to talk about some that are holding you back and stopping you from growing as an artist. And let me tell you, if you still believe in them, it's time for a change. Let's debunk these myths and unlock the potential you have inside. Because yes, you do have potential. So stick with me until the end, and together we'll uncover the lies that are hindering your artistic journey. By the way, if you're tired of drawing and feeling like nothing is improving, pay attention. Mark Brunet's Art School for Digital Artists was what pulled my drawings out of stagnation and gave me an insane boost. It's like going through an art school, but for a fraction of the price and only with what really matters: perspective, anatomy, color, composition, and much more, all explained step by step, from beginner to advanced. It is, by far, the best and most complete art course on the market. Don't waste time stuck at the same level. The link's in the description. Check it out now. Let's get back to the video. Talent is everything. If I had $1 for every time someone said, "A good artist is born with talent," I'd be rich by now. This is, without a doubt, the most famous myth of all, and unfortunately, one of the most damaging. People believe that if you weren't born drawing Mona Lisas in school, then there's no hope. You'll never be a good artist. But let me tell you something. Talent is only a small part, and a very small part, of what makes someone stand out in art. What really makes a difference is practice. There's a quote I love: "Practice makes perfect." And you know what? It's true. The ability to draw, paint, or illustrate is something that's built. No one is born knowing how to do it. Everyone starts from scratch, and even the great masters we admire went through a learning process. And that process, my friend, is long, full of mistakes and successes. Talent may give you a little push, but it's the constant practice that will make you better. Just imagine, you might have talent, but if you never practice, what's the point? It's like having a super powerful car, but leaving it parked in the garage. It makes no difference. So, if you think you don't have natural talent and therefore won't ever be a good artist, stop right there. What you need is dedication. Regular practice will take you where you want to go. A tip I always give is to set aside time every day to practice, even if it's just 15 minutes. Over time, you'll see that this accumulated practice makes a huge difference. Then you'll really see how far you can go. A good drawing is a realistic drawing. The myth that only realistic drawing is valid prevents many artists from exploring their creative abilities. Art is a personal and unique expression, and realism is just one of many possible approaches. Artists like Picasso, Van Gogh, and Matisse revolutionized art by exploring colors, shapes, and emotions in ways that pure realism could never achieve. When you believe that a good drawing must be realistic, you limit creativity. Art is a journey of self-discovery, where experimentation allows you to find your unique voice. Drawing is about interpreting, transforming, and reinventing reality. Focusing exclusively on realism can be discouraging for beginners, while embracing imperfection and exploring different styles is liberating and encouraging. Art offers a vast ocean of possibilities, where what matters is the authenticity of your expression and the passion behind every stroke. Free yourself from the myth that only realism is valid and explore new ways to express your ideas. Your drawing doesn't need to be realistic to be good. It only needs to be true to you. You need expensive materials. Here's another myth that holds many people back: believing that you can only be a good artist if you have those super expensive materials, you know? The pencils that cost a fortune, the imported paints, the ultra-high-quality papers. It seems like without these you can't be professional, but that's just another giant lie. I understand that quality materials do have their importance, but what truly matters is what you do with what you have. If you're just starting out, the most important thing is to practice, explore your ideas, and understand techniques. And you can do that with simple materials. You don't need a 100-color pencil set to create an amazing drawing. With a regular pencil, a pen, and any sheet of paper, you can already create fantastic things. And honestly, many renowned artists started with very basic materials. Creativity and skill don't come from the price of the material, but from your dedication to learning and practicing. In fact, many artists prefer to work with simple tools because it stimulates creativity in other ways. So don't get stuck on the idea that only expensive materials will make you a better artist. There's actually something very powerful about learning to make the most of the least. It makes you more versatile and teaches you to value every stroke, every brush stroke. Don't let a lack of money for fancy materials stop you from creating. Use what you have and do your best with it. You'll be surprised at how much you can accomplish, even with few resources. If you don't live off art, you're not an artist. This is a myth that occasionally pops up and discourages many people. There's this idea that to be considered a true artist, you have to live off your art. That if you have a normal job, if you're not making money from your drawings or paintings, then you're not a real artist. This is such a limiting and honestly unfair thought. The truth is, you don't need external validation to be considered an artist. If you love creating, if you're dedicated to learning and improving, then you are an artist. Art is not just about making money. It's about expression, about putting what you feel on paper, on canvas, out into the world. And yes, you can be an amazing artist even if you have a day job, even if art is just a hobby. In fact, many people create art purely as an escape, as something that brings joy and balance, and that doesn't diminish the value of their work at all. On the contrary, it reinforces the power of art to transform lives, whether you do it as a profession or not. So if at any point you thought that only those who live off art are artists, it's time to rethink that idea. What matters most is how much art means to you, how much it's a part of your life. That's what defines you as an artist, not your paycheck. Real artists don't copy, they draw from imagination. The myth that a true artist never copies anything and only draws from imagination prevents many aspiring artists from developing their skills through observation and copying. Copying is not the same as plagiarism. It's an essential learning technique used by great masters like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo. By copying works, artists train their eyes to notice details, understand proportions, and learn techniques that form a solid foundation for drawing from imagination with more precision and confidence. Drawing from imagination is not an isolated act of genius, but is based on a vast mental library of images and references accumulated over time. Copying works, studying figures, and observing the world enriches this mental library. The conscious practice of copying improves technique and builds confidence, essential for any type of art, whether realistic, abstract, or imaginative. Therefore, freeing yourself from the myth that copying is cheating is crucial for artistic growth. Copying is about learning, absorbing knowledge, and preparing to innovate. Use copying as a powerful tool to improve skills, expand understanding, and eventually create with originality and confidence. Art is about exploring, learning, and finding your own creative voice. If this video helped you, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next ones. Thanks a lot for watching, and don't forget to check the description. There are several important links that can help you even more. See you in the next video.